The film presents at a ballet recital where 12-year-old Abigail, Alicia Weir, is giving her performance. 3 of the criminals are keeping an eye on her. A getaway driver, a sniper, and a hacker waiting on orders outside are the 3 others. The 3 inside kidnap Abigail after she's finished and drag her into the van. They make their way through the streets undetected before reaching a mansion. When the group first meets Lambert, Giancarlo Esposito, their leader, he assigns them code names: Joey, Melissa Barrera; Frank, Dan Stevens; Sammy, Catherine Newton; Dean, Angus Cloud; Peter, Kevin Durand; and Rickles, Will Catlett. The plan is to kidnap Abigail from her affluent father for a $50 million ransom, which will be divided into $7 million for each of the 2 parties after a day. Lambert takes their phones and instructs them to not let Abigail see their faces before he leaves. The thieves get together to socialize and drink. Each of the 3 men bets money that Joey cannot read them, yet Joey accurately surmises that Frank is a former police officer, Peter was a mafia enforcer in Quebec, and Sammy is a wealthy man who enjoys engaging in illegal activity. Later, Joey visits Abigail to see how she's doing, and they share a quick moment of bonding. Joey says she has a son, but she won't give his real name, so Abigail calls him Justin. Abigail apologizes to Joey for what is going to happen before she goes. Dean attempts to hit on Sammy but is unsuccessful. He descends into the basement, where he is hauled off by an apparition. When Sammy investigates after hearing him scream, he discovers that Dean's head has fallen off his body. When the others discover the dead, they start to panic. When Frank inadvertently wanders into Abigail's room, she recognizes his face. In private, Joey and Rickles debate if Frank is really Valdez and is attempting to take out the group by himself in order to collect the ransom money. The same assailant mauls Rickles to death as they attempt to escape the estate. Frank then advises Peter to simply kill Abigail, but Joey intervenes to dissuade him. When they get to her room, Abigail confesses that she has been a vampire for centuries and goes by Valdez. They manage to get out of the room just as she lunges for them. The security systems kick in and keep them inside when they attempt to leave the estate. The group then starts trying to figure out how to deal with a vampire of this nature. They target the standard cliches: stakes, crosses, garlic cloves, and silver bullets. As Abigail is dancing with Dean's corpse, they attempt to ambush her. Abigail is shot in the head by Frank, but she recovers swiftly. After obtaining Peter's cross necklace, Abigail begins stabbing him. Sammy tries to use garlic, but it doesn't work either. She falls into a pool of dead victims who Abigail has previously bitten. Joey eventually manages to bring Abigail down by using the same tranquilizer they used on her when they were kidnapping her. In the end, they imprison her. When Abigail wakes up, Frank tries to threaten her, but Abigail begins to read each of the group and gives their real names. Sammy, whose true name is Jessica, fled after robbing her parents. She also mentions that Peter's real name is Terrence and that he was formerly a mafia thug with no intelligence. Before Abigail killed them and left their disfigured remains for Frank to uncover, Frank, who goes by the name Adam, was actually employed by Abigail's father. Lastly, Joey is really named Ana Lucia, who was a former army medic before her morphine addiction caused her to accidentally nick an artery of a major crime figure, which is how Abigail and her father came to learn about her, and also what caused Joey to lose custody of her son. Because of their ties to Laser, the others were singled out by him and given to Abigail as food by Lambert. Although Abigail claims that Lazar never loved her and that she also likes playing with her food, Joey informs Abigail that she believes Abigail is acting on this out of love for her father. Frank is tasked with watching Abigail, but she ends up breaking out of her cage and tries to choke him. In order to expose Abigail to sunshine, Joey smashes through the boarded windows, which does severe harm to her. As the group divides up to try to escape, Sammy's vampire tendencies take over and Abigail starts using her like a puppet. In the end, she kills Peter and drains his life force. Sammy erupts into bloody bits as Joey reflects sunlight towards her before she can go for Joey and Frank. When Joey and Frank search for a means to turn off the security system at the mansion, they discover Lambert in a control room. In addition to revealing that he is a vampire, he acknowledges that he brought the convicts there so Abigail could be fed, and that money was never going to be involved. By transforming him into a vampire as well, Lambert gives Frank the opportunity to join them in their mission to eliminate Laser and Abigail. After accepting and getting bitten, Frank stakes Lambert and explodes him shortly after. Frank then goes after Joey and Abigail with the intention of taking over Laser's empire. Frank battles Abigail, but he gains strength after consuming some of her blood. Frank later tries to turn Joey by biting her, but she rebuffs his efforts to manipulate her. After telling Joey that she can kill the vampire who bit her, Abigail and Joey team up to overpower Frank and stab him, which causes him to explode and instantly heals Joey. Night falls, and Joey prepares to leave, until she comes face to face with Laser, Matthew Good, himself. He reveals to Joey that he has gone by a number of identities, the most well-known of which you can probably guess. As he is about to murder Joey, Abigail intervenes and informs Laser that Joey assisted in rescuing her from Frank. By doing this, Laser and Abigail allow Joey to continue living and pursuing her son Caleb, as far as Abigail is aware. In search of Caleb, Joey climbs into a van and leaves. 6 criminals, given the code names Joey, former army medic and single mother, Frank, former cop, Sammy, rich hacker, Dean, getaway driver, Peter, former enforcer for Quebec Mafia, and Rickles, sniper, kidnap Abigail, the 12-year-old ballerina daughter of a wealthy criminal figure. Lambert, their supervisor, gives them the responsibility of watching over Abigail until they receive their money and leaves them alone for the night. Dean's head is soon severed from his body when he is slain. The group finds out that Abigail's father is Christophe Lazar, a notorious crime lord who is said to have a very lethal hitman who murdered Frank's previous fellow police officers. While attempting to flee, Rickles is likewise mauled to death. The group quickly finds out that Abigail is a vampire. Abigail bites Sammy before Joey is able to tranquilize her after their attempts to restrain her fail. When Abigail awakens, she confesses that she is aware of the entire backstory of the group, and that because Lambert works for both her and Laser and is only there to feed Abigail, there was never any money involved. After breaking out of the cage they had imprisoned her in, she transforms into a vampire and takes possession of Sammy. Peter is killed by Sammy, and Sammy is killed by Joey, who causes her to explode by reflecting sunlight onto her. Joey and Frank are trying to figure out how to deactivate the security system that has shut the gang within, but they find Lambert in the control room and discover he is also a vampire. He gives Frank the chance to become a vampire so they can kill Laser and Abigail because he despises working for Laser. Frank consents and is converted, but not before killing Lambert and attempting to murder Abigail and change Joey into a vampire. Despite his biting her, she and Abigail collaborate to stab and kill Frank. Laser appears before Joey can depart. It is strongly indicated that he is Dracula. After Abigail informs her father that Joey assisted in her protection, they grant her permission to depart, enabling Joey to reconnect with her son.